Welcome to Detroit. Welcome to the Classic IndyCar Series on RaceSpot TV, round number 6 of the championship, boosted by Logical. Robinson along with Jack Stiles here for this one. 14 corners, 72 laps is what we're racing for here today. 169 miles. Going to head you then straight down to your starting grid right now. And we have got ourselves at the front of your field there, Jack, the driver of Henry, sorry, actually, I'd take that on back, Andreas Warner and Yoni Kaldrum then.
Yeah, it looks as though Henry Bennett was leading the pace in practice just before qualifying got underway, but Andreas Werner getting his first pole of the season and the first pole for a street circuit on iRacing in the Classic IndyCar Series and also on RaceSpot TV. Yeah,
indeed. So I'm going to show you that grid for you then along the bottom of your screen, of course. What we want to make sure happens today is the pace car doesn't end up hitting a wall.
That would help. It's a slightly shorter pace lap here than the full pace lap that we saw at the IndyCar Detroit Grand Prix a couple of weeks ago, Will. But hopefully the iRacing Mustang will not find itself on one of the concrete walls. And hopefully none of the 29 drivers competing today will find themselves in one of those concrete walls.
A nice big field, 29 drivers here today for this round of the Classic IndyCar. So there's a lot of hype about this event. A couple of new drivers as well, including Joshua Chin in the number 193 car.
Indeed, so the King of Chins and the 2018 Indianapolis 500 winner is joining the Classic IndyCar Series, making his debut at Belle Isle. You cannot get a better debut in my view. As the pace car sets off, we are not too far away from the green flag dropping for 72 laps of action.
Yep, so here we are then, bringing you to the green here. Round number 6 of the Classic IndyCar Series. Run through the championship standings as they are in just a couple of moments' time, but here is the driver then of Andreas Warner in the 06 machine. Pace car's in. Green lights are on. Green flag is waving. We are racing at Detroit. Fantastic start by Andreas Warner. The drivers around him, though, they were going free winding towards turn number 1 for a moment there. Now they work themselves, well, through these first couple of corners, and actually pretty good start by everyone. They've all made it through. A couple of people towards the rear of the field, a bit slow, but for the most part, we are underway.
Indeed, so everyone off to a nice, clean start. That's all they need to do. Of course, passing here is going to be extremely difficult as we see a little bit of side-by-side action between Benjamin Gregory and, I believe, another driver in front of him. That was Matt Molnar getting his way past Ben on the start of this lap. Of course, you don't want to be too hasty, Will. It's a long race that you have to survive, and with the older IndyCar, the IR05, that 9,000 RPM kill switch is going to be very important to avoid on this bumpy street circuit.
Yeah, indeed. Live timing and scoring will be available in a few moments' time. It's a 72-lap race here, looking at Sasha Lamb on board of him right now as he's scrapping it out with Henry Bennett. This is for P number 5.
Indeed, so the battle for position number 5. Henry Bennett, Robert Grosser, two drivers who do meet quite often in the Classic IndyCar Series. In fact, Henry Bennett is getting himself up the field, so that battle for position number 5 is going to be Henry Bennett and Sasha Lamp. Sorry, my mistake, I believe you did say that. But Sasha Lamp, Talk Freak Racing at the moment, will not close enough to make a move on Henry as it stands. They head on to lap number 2.
Yeah, indeed so. So lap number 2 then is underway at this one, and it's Andreas Warner who's leading from Adam Shipstone then by about 2 seconds. Jan Kaldrum in 3rd place. Lucas Seville, though, putting the pressure on in that battle.
Henry Bennett's in the wall.
Wow, so the wall strikes for the first time. Replay of that one coming up for you now. Talk us through it, Jack.
It just looks as though you got a little bit late on the brakes. Tyres weren't quite up to temperature. Of course, the turns here at Detroit, I have tried driving around here once or twice, and it is extremely difficult to find your braking point. Joshua Chin, debuting in the Classic IndyCar Series today, almost hit the wall as well. Managed to avoid it, having a little bit of side-by-side action into turn number 4 with Benjamin Gregory. But all of them are going. But Henry Bennett, he did have a bit of a side contact with that tyre wall at turn number 3, and I would expect him to have front wing damage.
Yeah, on board right now with Lucas Seville in that number 2 machine. As live timing and scoring is now available, visit racespot.tv/timing for that one. Well, Laville putting pressure on Yoni in that number 77 machine. Battle for final podium position as they pass the start-finish line, then through the sweeps of turn number 1, turn number 2, onto Central Avenue again.
Indeed, so Lucas Laville not close enough to make a challenge onto the number 77 machine this time, I do not think. Actually, one of the names who I want to quickly talk about, Henry Bennett, of course, who did have that little bit of damage. They're going to go side by side with Matt Molnar. Molnar, he started 11th, he's already 8th. Clearly, he's thinking that overtaking early is the best strategy. In fact, he gets loose through turn number 4. Rear end stepping away from him. A couple of drivers going through, Joshua Chin being one of them. He's going to block Ben Gregory in the number 13 Fitstop Motorsport machine. And in fact, Ben's going to try and go down to the inside. Side by side there, you have a wider exit. That's where you can do it as they head out into the longer straight wheel. You don't want to be doing that through the twisty section, which they're now coming up to.
Yeah, here's a replay. Back end stepping out, so easy to do in these older IR05 machines. Well,
they make contact.
That. Yeah, we've got contact then. And there's Molnar slowing down. Benjamin Gregory slow as well. So it's all ending in tears for these two drivers. Gregory, number 13 car, going to have to try and limp that one back towards pit road.
Indeed, so just as low Matt Molnar or Ben managed to get a little bit later on the brakes, and Matt wasn't expecting him to be on the inside. They made a tiny bit of contact that ruins Ben's run through that corner, and he just went up into the wall, and there was nothing either of the drivers could do. Just a racing incident in this case, Will, and it's something which I think we're going to see quite a lot of. Benjamin Gregory is still running. He is falling down the pack, of course, running slowly, heading himself back onto the lane. He's going to be your first visitor down to pit lane. Actually, no, in fact, that's Randy Crosno. Randy Crosno is already down onto the lane, Will. Yeah,
he's making a long pit stop, so damage then to that number 74 machine. Mike Gerlich has had a pit stop early on in this event as well. So is Andrew Addis Saunders, actually. So a few people have come onto the lane. Jonathan Diggs did not start this one when all was said and done. Just having a look through Chin versus Bennett. That's going to be a fantastic one to look at over the course of the next few laps.
Indeed, Henry Bennett and Joshua Chin, two drivers in the IndyCar series in the IR18, which were very fast, especially at the Indy 500. Two names which you always want to watch out for in IndyCars. Slightly different beast for Joshua Chin to tame in this series, but I believe he's doing it well as he gets a little bit loose through that section, going around by the fountain, which of course we saw Ryan Hunter-Reay, I believe it was, create a new tradition of going to have a swim after you win the race at Belle Isle. But Joshua Chin,
tradition, is it? Or was it just someone once? I mean, we're not just going to have now people risking mild hypothermia just because they win a motor race, right?
This is racing drivers, don't forget.
Drink some champagne, drink some milk, don't drink orange juice at Indy. Hi, Emerson Fittipaldi, how is it going? But, you know, jumping into a fountain, whatever. Hashtag blame Randy. Oh, we got an incident. Sam Winton and Johnny Garrett involved.
Indeed, I saw Sam Winton had headed himself down to the lane in the number 17 machine. Not sure what happened there. I didn't see that Johnny Garrett was also involved. I'm going to go and have a look. Looks as though it may have been a single car incident, slightly separate. No, there was a tiny bit of contact, I think, between them.
Oh, no, there's a lot of contact. Yes, we're having a look at Garrett then, and it was the driver of Winton, I believe, who just basically got himself loose on the exit of corner, speared back across the racetrack, and then, before you know it, Garrett had nowhere to go, and that car was seeing the underside of another car, shall we say, on track, as Andreas Warner has got himself 3.1 second advantage now over Adam Shipstone. Shipstone holding station in terms of that battle with Yoni Kaldrin, but not really able to pull out any further.
Lucas Laville has also dropped off the back of Yoni, so Yoni's got a nice gap in front and behind of about 1.5 seconds each way, Will, which is good for him. It just means that he can start counting out the laps. We're already on to lap number 6 of this race, so the laps are already ticking down. Looked like there was a couple of positions changing further down your field as well. Some good mid-pack battles going on. Paddle for P number 7. Henry Bennett, Joshua Chin. That one's still going on. There's a battle for P number 11. I think they were just changing positions. In fact, Carson Brovey, Ryan Hellier, and then there's a 3-car train for position number 14 in the form of Randy Shoemake, David Costello, and actually David Costello was one of the drivers involved. He has lost quite a few positions on that lap there, Will. Yeah, look then at our aerial coverage brought to you by And One Design, official graphics partner of RaceSpot TV. Beautiful level of detail that's gone into this Belle Isle track. Of course, we have a street circuit in theory in Laguna Seca, but that's still a tech track. We've, in theory, got street tracks with Le Mans, with Montreal, and 1 or 2 others. Bathurst, of course. But this is your first real street track on iRacing. This is your proper thoroughbred street circuit as Jan Hoffman goes for a spin out of turn number 4. And he is back going again, dropping down to 17th position now behind the car of Andrew Aitken. But yes, this is the first proper street circuit that we have fully developed on iRacing. And Will, I know you were obviously very excited for this race. I was as well. It's already living up to expectations, and what a circuit this is.
Oh, fantastic racetrack. Oh,
we've got Matt Molnar. Matt Molnar, I think it is.
Oh, so Molnar then having an incident. That's going to be his second of the day.
He's already a lap down, Will. It was a single car incident, this one. He just lost it on his own. Going through that tricky section, actually, towards the end of the lap, where you don't, obviously, you have that long straight, then you turn it right. Obviously, you do rejoin that road again, Will. They just obviously slow the drivers down because you do not want to be going into that corner as quickly as you would if you didn't have that section.
Oh, yeah, turn number 12 would just be almost impossible. Remind me a little bit of Portland, actually, in some ways, the way this track is laid out. Chin versus Bennett is still going on. Let's ride our first lap on board with driver then. Let's ride on board with Josh Chin as well, up to 152 miles an hour into this corner. Right-handed sausage curbs can really play havoc with your machine. And this is 8 into 9 into 10 underneath the Continental Bridge. Turn number 11. Oh, bit of wiggle there for Chin as he exits 11 now. This is 12 into 13 and onto Sunset Drive. Turn number 14 pretty much flat out. Fast start finish line and into 1 and 2. This is of course turn number 2 where that pace car had that infamous incident now. And you just hear the bump though, Jack. You know, we're all mocking that pace car drive, but there is a bump just as you want to start putting the acceleration pedal down.
I must admit, I did mock the pace driver quite a lot after that happened, and it's quite funny that I just go and do exactly the same thing myself. The bump on turn number 2, you don't realise how big it is until you actually drive a car over there, get on the throttle a little bit too early, and the car just snaps left. And it's something obviously the pace car driver couldn't avoid, no driver could avoid, and you can actually see the cars move. You can see them jump over the bump, Will, as they go around turn 2, and you're still turning at that point. That's what makes it even harder.
Yeah. As there is a look at this battle going on. Chin almost shoved one down the inside, but in front of Henry Bennett is Robert Grosser. So Grosser is in the mix here as well. Only about 3/4 of a second between a couple of them, and this is fantastic.
Yeah, Robert Grosser as well, your 3-time champion of this series, as Andrew Wood gets himself past David Costello. David Costello down onto the pit lane in the 0584X machine, obviously to get some damage repairs. But Robert Grosser, always one of the greats to watch in the Classic IndyCar series. I think he's been struggling a little bit more this year. The wins haven't been rolling off as they were last year, Will, and I think obviously the caliber of drivers has increased so much in this over the last 12 months in this series, and it's great to see. I don't think Robert Grosser is going to be able to bring home a 4th championship. I think for the first time ever, someone else is going to win the overall championship in the Classic IndyCar series. As Josh Chin looks around the outside of Henry Bennett, and side by side further ahead between Sasha Lamb and Robert Grosser. This is going to bring Joshua Chin and Henry Bennett into this battle. Still side by side as they head into 6. Sasha Lamb on the outside. Robert Grosser gets loose and hard into the wall on the inside on the exit of that corner. Unlucky for him, he's got heavy steering damage on that number 1 machine.
Yeah, he might have to park that one, to be honest. He might not make it back on towards pit road. He's still got quite a bit to go. Replay coming up for you then on board. Just what happens when you put that throttle down. Simple as that.
And it looks as though he has parked it. Robert Grosser has taken the tow back to the lane in the number 1 Vortex Sim Racing machine, and, well, his day for a good position is done. Andreas Werner, though, someone who we need to quickly mention, Will, still in the lead, and he's now leading by actually 5 seconds over the TalkStreet Racing driver of Adam Shipstone. And that's all you need to do. Keep it nice and steady and clean, and you'll be fine and get to the end.
Yeah. Having a look at Andreas Werner right now, he say that gap is up now to over 5 seconds. And lap gaps. Well, he's putting away at a rate of about 4/10 of a second average right now. He gained half a second on lap number 7, lap number 8, 3/10 of a second on lap number 9. You can also stay social with us here on RaceSpot TV. You can use at Twitter, at RaceSpot TV on the Twitters, and /RaceSpot TV on Facebook as well. Let us know what you're doing this Sunday evening if you're enjoying our coverage of this and other RaceSpot TV events. Joshua Chin's had a moment And I think he might have just collected a wall. Let's have a look at a replay there. Well, he did touch the wall officially. He just looped the car around.
Yeah, it just looks as though it was the same issue that Robert Grosser had, just a little bit too early on the power in the same corner. But Joshua Chin is back going again. The damage is minimal, Will, but he has lost a lot of time. He's dropped down to 9th position now -1 on where he started in 8th in the 193 Team Chimera machines. In fact, almost into the wall again there for Josh Chin. He is pushing to try and regain some time, but yes, unlucky incident for him, but the damage is very minimal.
Yeah, look at that, 127 last time by for Josh Chin, so lost himself a total of 10 seconds to his fastest lap of the day. Now, strategy will be an interesting one, because these tyres, they can go off pretty quickly here. We had a look at the weather a little bit earlier on. We'll show that one to you again. 79 degrees, 36% humidity, but clear skies. That means track temperature is going to be high today.
Track temperature is 41 degrees Celsius. I'm sure we'll be able to tell you what that is in Fahrenheit. I don't have it available to you at the moment. But yes, Joshua also, yeah, track is extremely hot, which means those tyres are going to be working very hard to keep the grip up. And of course, strategy is going to be important. Cautions are not going to be a thing here at Belle Isle today, Will, which means that it's all down to green flag racing, green flag pit stops, and how well you can save those tyres.
106 degrees Fahrenheit.
There we go.
So hot.
Very hot.
Saying that one. As Lucas Reveal is battling out still for 3rd place on track. Again, Calvin just ahead. We moved away from Josh Chin. I actually want to go back to him because after, after that moment, of course, he's now behind Hans Pickenen and John Elmsheimer. And let's see whether he can use the tools in the car, try and find a way to get himself ahead. But one of the most important things at this point is to just resettle that car down, and Chin not being too aggressive there through 1 and 2.
You can actually see the car moving as he came through turn number 2, just wiggling over that bump that we were talking about a few minutes ago, Will. But yes, Josh Chin, all he needs to do is settle back down into a nice, steady rhythm, and he will be on his way back up through the pack. He's already shown that he can gain up the positions, and I'm sure that he'll be able to do the same in the following laps towards the end, or going up to the end of this race especially. He will be on full charge. Biggest mover and shakers so far in your race as well should be pointed out. No, we're not in the top 10. It's Andrew Aitken down in 15th. He is up 10 places on where he started.
Yeah, a lot of that is due to the high level of attrition so far in this event. Those people who have had some form of issues: Andrew Wood, Johnny Garrett, Sam Winton, Robert Grosser, Mike Gerlicher, Benjamin Gregory, Matt Molnar, Randy Crosno, David Costello, Andrew Adair Saunders. So, yeah, that's over 10 drivers having issues in the first dozen or so laps in this event here today. 1-2, I'll show you something. And this is Joshua Bard in the 16th position right now. We have actually got ourselves a onboard camera with him, a little bit more special one. This is actually, he says, it's not actually working when we try and go to it. There we are. We have got an onboard camera for him today. It's a little bit buggy, so we do apologise for that one. But this is virtual reality and iRacing on board with Bard right now there, Jack.
And it's also the best way for the viewer at home to see how much also the driver is working as he comes through turn number 2. He's going to also be challenging. Here we go. This is a good place for you to see what it's like to even challenge for a position. He's going to go for a move on Andrew Aitken. He looks like he's got it down into turn number 4. But yes, as you can see, right-hand side of your screen, you can see how much the driver is working and also how close the walls are to the car here at Belle Isle.
Yeah, indeed so. So Bard up into 15th place for the time being. His last lap, 1.5 seconds slower than his best lap here today. So the tyres are falling off pretty quickly.
Yeah, I think the tyres are going to be almost falling to shreds. Andreas Werner, though, he's only, last time around, only a 10th off his fastest lap, which is the fastest lap of the race. I think a little bit further down the field, they are battling quite a lot, but there is also the fact that you have to bring into it is that the track is very hot, so the tyre wear is going to be high.
Yeah, back on board then with Joshua Bard, number 23 Midwest car, as he works himself behind Randy Shoemake right now. Gap is 0.6 per second. Oh, he hits the wall. And he's on towards pit road immediately. Well, that's not what he would want to have happen at all. You can see bringing that car on towards pit road. Unfortunately, we can't get a better angle for that one for you now, but just hits the wall down at turn number 14 and straight onto pit road.
Yeah, I think it's just a case of he went a little bit too deep into the corner. In fact, he did. That front left wheel had nowhere to go other than that concrete barrier because of the speed that he was taking in, Will. The speed that he was carrying through the corner was if he was going to hit the apex. If you want to go through that corner in the line that he took, you need a little bit less speed to make sure that you will not make contact with the outside wall. Joshua Baird has got the repairs done. He is back out on circuit, but he has fallen down to 19th position and also one lap down on your leader, Andreas Werner, who actually, his tyres clearly aren't going away, Will. He's just gone purple.
Yep. So Andy Werner right now continuing to pull away in that 06 machine as the gap between himself and Adam Shipstone up to 8.5 seconds on track right now. This is on board with Andreas Werner as he works himself through towards turn number 7 on track. Well, the thing about Andy Werner is when he gets a race going well, he's one of the best on track, but we've seen him have so much bad luck this season.
He has. He always seems to snag some bad luck from somewhere, and it's. I don't want to put a commentator's curse on him, and I'm really sorry if I do, but at the moment, he's just having a nice, clean race. Of course, still a long way to go. 57 laps remaining in this race after this one. Also looks as though Carsten Brodvig has got his way past Ryan Hellier, or no, it might have been John Elmsheimer and Hans Pitkanen. Not sure. One of them has changed positions. I think it might have been John Elmsheimer and Hans Pitkanen.
Yeah, they had been battling at it a little bit earlier on. Ryan Hellier right now, NP number 10, trying to hunt down Carsten Bodaway. That is the battle for 9th place. Gap is 1 second on track over the last couple of laps. Well, Hellier had started closing down. He closed 6 tenths of a second in 2 laps, but lost a little bit on lap number 14.
Yeah, he lost about 0.3 of a second last time around. Let's see for the lap times to update, see how the lap times compare this time around. Ryan Hellier was just a fraction faster there, Will. Just under 1/10 of a second. So at the moment, gap staying pretty steady, but this is a battle we need to keep our eye on because Ryan Hellier has been moving his way up the field, but Carsten Brodvig is up 6, so he is on a nice charge.
Yeah, let's ride the lap on board then with Hellier in 10th. Certainly wasn't fast that last time by Jack.
No, he made a little bit of a mistake through this through turn number 9, by the looks of it, turn number 10, that section, and it just means that he has lost quite a lot of the time. He was 2 seconds slower than Carsten Brodvig. That battle has halted for now, but your battle for position number 3 has all of a sudden come alive once again. Lucas Deville has closed the gap on Joni Kainen. The number 77 machine has been slowing down. Lucas Deville was 7 tenths faster last time round, Will, and he is getting closer every time I look at that battle.
Right, fuel tank is somewhere about 30 laps here today, so we are now over half a stint. However, track temp is a factor then, and downforce levels a factor of that one as well. You can run multiple downforce levels at this track because there's so many long, high, fast speed straights. There are some people that will take the risk and then just tippy-toe around the stadium section around turn 7 through 11.
Yeah, I think it's either go high downforce and you suffer, on the straights, or you can go really low downforce, be very aggressive, but you do have to tiptoe and be very careful with these Indy cars. Obviously, of course, you don't want to go into a corner with no downforce on, go straight onto the power, especially out of the low speed one, and yeah, you might find yourself on one of Belle Isle's many concrete walls. But of course, downforce is a factor, so is tyre wear. I would expect to see that drivers will come in before that 30 lap point, and actually they'll be racing for tyres today and not a fuel stint.
Well, yeah, I was just doing the math there on the fly. They need to kind of make it to lap number 24, 25 to make it a two-stop race. So I think we're going to see a lot of people come in between lap number 25 and lap number 27 in this one.
Josh Baird as well is down onto the lane. I don't know whether he's had an issue, Will. I think he might have done. Yeah, he's just got loose coming out of one of the many corners. Got a tight section of the circuit as well. I think his day might be done. Vesiula Ollier as well has come down onto the lane. So the 996 coming in for a pit stop. Haven't seen anything happen to him, so this could be a routine stop.
Yeah, it could be. So let's all look at him. But this is a replay of Bird. Well, okay. He has one incident where he almost loses the car. Then tiptoes around the other corner. Turn number 8. Oh, I just lose it on the exit of 8. That's what it was.
Yeah, and I think he may have used up all of his repairs available. That's going to be a very long stop for him. Is he moving again? I think he might be, Will. No, he is stopped. Joshua Baird is out of this race. Robert Grosser is slowly making himself up, or making his way back up the pack. He is in 19th position after his slight issue earlier on. He started 6th. Vesiula Ollier, that was a routine stop. He is back out in a time of 7.7 seconds that he was stationary for. So new set of boots and some more fuel for Vesser, and he is back out for his second stint.
Jan Hoffman on the move right now. 05 car as he battles out with Andrew Aitken, who in turn is battling out with Randy Shoemake. So this is a battle going on 13, 14, 15 on track. These are the last drivers running who have not yet made a pit stop. So they do need to get a move on a little bit, but there's a good chance they could all be put down on a lap before too long. In the meanwhile, worth noting that we are using blue flag rules, FIA style here today, Jack. Not do it in your own way, not iRacing standard rules. It's get out the way.
Yeah, exactly, and I think that's the safest way to do it on such a tight straight circuit. Of course, you could do it where you just have to find your own way past, which is obviously, of course, what we see in most forms of sports car racing and most forms of motor racing in general. The fast car has to find his way past. Jan Hoffman closing up on Andrew Aitken through turn number 7 and 8 as they come down into 9, 10 and 11 there, Will. But yes, of course, blue flag rules is going to play into the hands of your leaders, because they can, of course, sit behind a car down one of the long straights, save just a tiny little bit of fuel that will help their fuel strategy.
Yeah, indeed so. So looking on board with Jan Hoffman then, as Andrew Aiken's on towards pit road.
I wonder whether we're starting to see the start the scheduled stops, Will, with everyone just finding that the tyres are losing grip. Andrew Aitken, haven't seen any issues for him over the past lap, though, so this is probably just a scheduled stop for him.
So Aitken comes onto the lane, pulls into his pit stall. And you can't see anything there, but we can tell you that the car is off the jacks and out and away in 10 seconds.
That's a scheduled stop for Andrew Aitken. He's back out running down in 17th position. Now, this is interesting to point out, Will. I believe he has stayed on the lead lap. I am not sure with that one.
No, he's a lap down.
He's a lap down? Okay, so if you are in the mid-pack, you are going to go a lap down once you pit. But, of course, once the leaders come down onto the pit lane, you will gain that back. So, all in all, not much disadvantage to pitting under green flag. And, of course, you're not going to get any caution strategies like we see on the ovals. And, yeah, okay, maybe you'd argue that we do need them at Belle Isle, but I think these drivers are being extremely sensible at the moment. And if they have an incident, just getting out of the way. Battle for position number 5, Henry Bennett, Sasha Lamp. That's one we need to keep an eye on.
Yep, as Andres Warren at 12.2 seconds now ahead of Adam Shipstone as he starts his 22nd lap around this Belle Isle racetrack. Bennett versus the driver of Sasha Lamp is 1 second on track, as Jack just alluded to, and The lap gaps between the two of them, well, Bennett is closing. He's closed the last 3 laps now by a total time of 6/10.
Bennett is always a driver you have to watch. Once he gets into a groove, he is extremely fast. He's usually a little bit more laid back towards the start of a race, Will. Doesn't take it as hard, just tries to find some pace, let everyone get all the adrenaline and all the anxious and anger out of their system, let everyone settle down, then he goes on the move. Battle for second position, Yoni Kine and Adam Shipstone as well. Those guys are now within a second, so we could have a change on the podium positions, but yes, Henry Bennett looking to move his way and gain back a position that he lost at the start of this race.
Yeah. On board with Yoni Kolch and their number 77 machine for a moment. He's closing, but not by much right now. We'll get confirmation of the lap times in a second. Fast start finish time. He's gaining a tiny bit. He's better on sector number 1, sector number 3, losing out in sector 2 there, Jack.
Yeah, I think that is definitely where you saw Yoni kind of just drop back a little bit. And in fact, actually, Adam Shipstone, good run out of turn number 2 for him. That gap is now more than a second, but my red box is back on my timing screen, so they're back within a second. I think it's just a case of Yoni Kynan actually might be running a slightly higher downforce setting than Adam Shipstone. That could explain why this gap is fluctuating so much. Battle for position number 5. Henry Bennett has closed up even more on the other Talk Freak Racing driver of Sasha Lamp. Sasha Lamp, team manager for Talk Freak Racing, and Henry Bennett looking to get his way up back into the top 5.
Yeah, because we're on a road course, it is the Joe Real Timing Clean Driver Award. That will go to the driver with the lowest incident points here today. We've got a car off and slow. Don't know who that was. I'll get you a confirmation in a moment. All I know, it was a blue car. But Jack, there'll be the driver with the fewest ink points that is not a Vortex Sim Racing driver will get themselves a Pro Key to Joe Real Timing.
They will indeed. Joe Real Timing is an app that I recommend to anyone on the iRacing service who hasn't invested in it, and it provides everything from live timing, the one that I'm using, to our live track maps. You can just, it's so customizable, you can do anything with it. Andrew Wood comes down to the lane to make his first stop of the race, Will, from 16th position, and of course, at the moment, there are so many drivers who are eligible for that Clean Driver Award, because it is the person with the least incident points, as you said, and it's, I would actually say it's very difficult to get incident points unless you spin here at Belle.
Yeah, okay, this is Andrew Wood from earlier. He wasn't actually spinning, he was just slowing down to allow traffic past, and he is now making his pit stop. So, scheduled service then, 12.9 out of the way for Andrew Wood.
Indeed, so he is back out onto the circuit. Ryan Hellier pitched from position number 10 as well. Lap number 23. I think we're going to start to see the scheduled pit stops happen in the next few moments. Lucas Seville, or Yoni Kynan, has dropped back off of Adam Shipstone. Gap now 2.5 seconds, but he has been left into the clutches of the Frenchman of Lucas Laville in the number 2, and also Henry Bennett, Sasha Lamp. That battle has just stalemated for now. I think this will all come back alive again once the pit stops have been completed.
027 car out of the way, 11.7 seconds. Ahead. Let's keep an eye out on your race leader, Andres One. He's got some traffic ahead of him that he's going to have to deal with this lap. No pit stop yet, though, for the driver of Andres Warner. Clean race for him. Oh, my word. That was almost not a clean race, though, for Warner. 2 cars angling just ahead.
Yeah, Andreas Werner, very close to disaster for him. He does carry on nice and clean, car getting out of his way. In fact, actually, he went up into the wall when he did that on the exit of the corner. I believe that was Jan Hoffman. It was indeed. So Jan Hoffman makes contact with the wall at turn number 7 while he's letting hit the leader through, and he's now lost a lot of positions.
2 incidents in as many corners. Replay on board with Hoffman. Okay, so the IndyCar machine just ahead catches a curb. Needs some new undies after that one. Then Hoffman. I think just gets damaged, and he doesn't really know this immediately. Another car parking it, and yeah, and Hoffman then just trying to get out of the way, goes onto the marbles. Game over.
Indeed, I think it's just one of those things that you can't really avoid. As soon as you get offline, we are a long way into this race now, so the marbles are starting to get flicked up as Jan Hoffman brings his number 05 machine down onto the lane. As the marbles get picked up, you are going to lose grip off of line, and once you lose grip, you haven't really got much hope there, Will. It's one of those things. It's an unlucky draw, and unlucky for Jan Hoffman. I think he should be okay. Get back out. His car does look like it has been repaired. He is away. 9.2 second stop for him. So, a reset on his damage, and he is back out into the race.
Lucas Seville is closing right up to Yoni Kalsman gap, now down to 4/10 of a second as Henry Bennett is on pit road. We are also joined at this time by Joshua Chim. Out of the event early. Josh, what happened?
Driver got dumb and got out of his rhythm and had a fast car and messed up qualifying and got behind and was trying to push and went in the wall.
That was very succinct, but your first race there in the Classic IndyCar Series doesn't go to plan. How hard is running Belle?
It's really hard, and I've kind of forgot how difficult this car was. It's been, I think, 4 years since the last time I really ran it, ironically enough, on Race Spot when that was starting. But Belle Isle is really difficult. This car doesn't have a third spring, so it's really difficult getting it through the bumps and still getting it to handle. That's the biggest thing I kind of struggled with, was getting through the bumps, and a lot of the time the bumps are in the acceleration zone, so you're sitting there waiting to hit the gas, but if you hit it too early, you're going to spin. You hit it too late, you're going to be really slow.
Well, next time the Classic IndyCar Series will be on air, will be in a couple of weeks' time at Richmond. Richmond's a track that you've had a love-hate relationship over the years, haven't you?
Yeah, I like Richmond, but Richmond doesn't like me. It's kind of the same as Phoenix, I guess, where anything that can happen to me will. But, you know, I like Richmond. It'll be an entertaining race, if nothing else.
And who do you want to give a shout-out to?
Team Chimera, got to thank everyone at Team AeroX. They helped put together this setup this week, and overall the car was really good, and driver wasn't so good, but the car is good. Randy's running pretty well in 12th, and hopefully can bring it home in the top 10.
That, ladies and gentlemen, Joshua Chin here on RaceSpot TV. Sasha Lamp pit stop, 10.3 out and away.
Yeah, indeed. So it also looks as though Jan Hoffman is having more issues. His day is going from bad to worse. Coming through turn number 2, we almost had a repeat of the pace car incident we saw 2 weeks ago at Belle Isle, and he just went wide, hit the bump. Not much more he could do out into the outside wall. Then a bit of a air hockey moment as he pinged across the track and onto the inside wall there, Will.
Yep, there's your replay. Oof! Oof! Yep, double moment there for Hoffman. He's out. Lucas Seville, third place right now. So fourth place even, looking for third place behind Yoni Kalsman as they work themselves on lap number 28 right now, or 72, Jack.
Yeah, we are getting closer to the halfway stage in this race. Not too far to go now. The first round of pit stops will be coming your way in the next few laps. Looks as though everyone is going for the fuel strategy over the tyre strategy. Tyre wear obviously isn't as bad as I thought it would be, but Joni Kinen are doing a great job to hold off Lucas Leville, because Lucas Leville is a hard charger, and we always see him trying to move forward in the Classic IndyCar Series. Sometimes struggles a little bit in qualifying, I seem to remember, but always manages to pull his finger out in the race and pull off a good show.
Yeah, as Lucas Seville right now, a third of a second behind Yoni Kalsman. Pit stops are going to be important here because it can be really hard to overtake Belle Isle. Your pit stop will be the best chance to do that. So Leville might try and do the undercut here by lap.
Indeed, so if he does the undercut, it will be the easiest way for him to get past. He doesn't have to risk his car and also Yoni's car into one of the many corners we have. And of course, it's not a case where there is runoff on the exit of a lot of the corners, Will. It's a case of if you get it wrong, there's a concrete wall awaiting for you on the inside or the outside. As quite a few drivers have now noticed, there is only 11 drivers left on your lead lap in this race, but of course pit stops are playing into that one, and it looks as though at least 5 or 6 drivers are already out of this race.
Yeah, Sasha Lamp, Henry Bennett, they are close. In fact, Lamp had a wiggle in turn number 7. That means that Bennett is right close up behind again as they work now to 12 and leave the Motor City Bridge. They have both made their first pit stop of the day. Bennett did it 1 lap before Lamp did.
John Elmsweimer as well has had an issue. He was running up in the top 10. He is now down on the lane. He has had a bit of a problem, a little bit too much power coming out of one of the corners, and his car just went sliding out and into the wall again. There's no hope of recovery, especially at the section of circuit that we went wrong for him. Hard onto the inside wall as well, just parking his car on the grass, and his day is over. So John Elmsweimer in the 88 machine, another one to add to your retirement list.
Yeah, the back part of the car, the left rear just tagging the wall. Broken rear suspension on that car. We're talking about broken suspension quite a lot over the last week, especially also with Le Mans. But Warner now onto lap number 30. We expect him on towards pit road this time.
Yes, and in fact, we are reaching that point where the fuel is going to be running, or the cars are going to be running on fumes. Andreas Werner, he has put off a first stint of the gods. He has just been nice and steady. We haven't had any need to talk about it, Will, because he's just been out of the front, minding his own business. He's got a 14-second advantage over Adam Shipstone now in second, because Adam Shipstone hasn't been able to match him on pace. Last time around, he was 1 second slower, and Werner has been managing the tyre well extremely well. He's still in the 117s.
Yeah, let's ride what we think might be the in-lap then with Andy Warner. Or maybe not the in-lap this time, right?
No, he's going to go for another lap on this stint. Can't be long now. And in fact, actually, on that lap, setting a purple lap time, fastest lap of the race on old tyres. Obviously, old tyres, but low fuel. So he's able to run, I wouldn't say it's quali pace, because his quali time was a 1 minute 15.691. But he is certainly setting the track alight on those worn tyres, and actually that's extremely hard to do. So Andreas Werner doing an excellent job at the front of your field.
Yeah, lap number 31 for him right now. Yoni Calvin is on pit road. This will help Laville a little bit.
Yeah, Laville has managed to get away. I think kind of might be going for the slightly shorter strategy than Lucas Laville. Lucas Laville has managed to save 1 lap of extra fuel, getting very close to the wall out of turn number 4 up into turn number 5. And in fact, you can see that his tyres are getting old there, Will, because he is sliding all over the place in that number 2 machine.
Yeah, as Calvin comes back out to pit road, 11.7 second pit stop for him. As Andreas Warner, let's keep another eye on him then, shall we? Into turn number 12. 13. Pit road for Warner. Talk us through it, Jack.
So Andrew Werner down onto the pit lane. The 06 machine is going to have to go right to the end. He is going to be in box number 1. He's got a nice easy run out onto the track again, obviously keeping right. Adam Shipstone going to follow him down onto the lane. Lucas Laville, though, he's going to stay out for a 30-second lap. Lucas Laville, fastest lap of the race, and also taking the lead on lap number 32. Andy Werner, he's up, he's down, new set of tyres. His pit stop is going to be, this is a long one, Will, 11, 12, 12.4 seconds. He's back out, pit limiter off. Be very careful on that pit exit. Do not cross that white line. You will get yourself a penalty. And of course, cold tyres is going to be interesting. They will be up to temperature very quick with the hot track temperature, but the grip is going to be low now for Andy Werner. Adam Shipstone, 12-second 0.1 pit stop time for him, slightly quicker than Andy, but not enough to close down that 13-second deficit. Yeah, although interestingly enough, Andreas Warner was a tenth faster between pit entry to exit compared to Adam Shipstone. Hans Pitkanen on pit road as we speak, making his service right now. Fastest real pit stop so far has been Jan Kalsum, did 32.4 seconds. He's taken a full tank of fuel. Everyone else has kind of split their fuel down. There's a reason for that, of course. The drivers that came in early, they're basically just going to fill the car up and do equal stint lengths. Whereas the drivers who have filled that car to the brim, they're going to do a splash and dash at the end. And here comes Lucas Laville onto the lane. I'm just looking at lane-to-lane times. Sasha Lamp and Henry Bennett have both made their first stop. They did a lane time in 30 seconds.
Yeah, but don't forget they're the people that came in to do what I'm going to call the alternate strategy. So they are going to be faster. In terms of how much time they did, though, in terms of actual pits, not time in their pit box, they're actually, I think, slower.
They are. Looking at their pit box, it was 10 seconds for Sasha Lamp and 9.9 for Henry Bennett, so slightly faster, but it tells me that they're on a slightly more aggressive strategy. There is leeway. It's going to be a 2-stop for all the drivers. Lucasville almost losing it on pit exit there, Will. But yes, strategy is important because you can go for a slightly shorter stint length on each one and still have to make 2 stops. But I think everyone is going for the strategy of giving it a brim tank for this one, brim tank for the next one, only taking around 13 laps. And in fact, actually, in the former Lucas LaVille, he might only have to take 9 or 10 to be able to get to the end of this race.
Yeah, LaVille came out ahead of Adam Shipstone, but has just lost position into turn number 3. So LaVille, the gamble almost paid off for him.
It did, and in fact, he did very well to close up that gap. He has got Yoni Kinen within a second of him, but that gap is quite literally around a second. Lucas LaVille, though, much closer to Adam Shipstone for position number 2. He has been making his way up. He is now +1 on where he started from 4th in the grid, looking to make it +2, getting himself up onto that second step of the podium. We still have 39 laps remaining as Randy Shoemake comes down to the lane to make his first stop. He went the longest out of anyone in this race so far today, Will.
Yeah, so here's a look then at your top 8 as we see Randy Shoemake on pit road. Coming out of pit road, service time for him 9.7. Your top 8 right now. Andres Warner leads by 14 seconds almost over Adam Shipstone. LaVille in 3rd, with Yoni Kelshner in 4th. Henry Bennett in 5th. Sasha Lamp, Hans Pickenham, and Carson Broadway round out your top 8. We're going to take a quick break here on RaceSpot TV. Don't go anywhere because we're going to take you RaceSpot TV side by side. into the second half of round number 6 of the Classic IndyCar Series, boosted by Logical here on RaceSpot TV and on iRacing Live. Will Vincent, Jack Styles. Well, Jack, first part of the race was all about attrition. Second part of the race is all about hanging on.
Indeed, so in the first part of the race, we have seen multiple retirements. We have spoken to one a few moments ago in the form of Joshua Chin. He had a few issues on his debut in the Classic IndyCar Series. The second half of this race is going to be about getting it home to the checkered flag and making sure that you can get your car home and safe. And of course, strategy as well. You want to be getting your strategy spot on. You can always take too much fuel, but you do not want to take too little fuel. A little bit of an incident happening in front of Lucas Seville. Randy Shoemaker making contact with the wall and the exit of turn number 5.
So Shoemaker, we talked about him having a good race earlier, but now he's running in P number 13 in this event. We've been looking at the battle a moment ago, by the way. Robert Grosser and Veseyula Ollier, they're going at it now for P number 11.
Yeah, Robert Grosser trying to make up for a small mistake he made a little bit earlier on in this race. Veseyula Ollier is up 16 positions on where he started, so he is looking to hold on to that position. He is currently in 11th, a little bit behind Ryan Hellier, currently holding off your top 10. So Veseyula Ollier has got a chance at a top 10 in this race, Will, but he has to hold off the mighty Robert Grosser.
Yeah, so the battle between P number 11 is currently half a second on track. Ahead, you've got yourself, in fact, no, behind, here comes Grosser down to the inside, pass made, easily done.
Yeah, nice and easy pass from Robert Grosser there. A nice, easy way to do it down to turn number 4. Lots of runoff, so you can run a little bit more aggressive on that overtake. And Robert Grosser moves himself up into position number 11. He's now going to be looking forward to Ryan Hellier coming under the pure Michigan barrier. And already Robert Grosser is within a second of Ryan. So he's looking to get that pass done nice and quick.
John Elmsheimer holding off Andrew Wood right now, P number 14. On track, having a look at that one, but let's go back up the field a little bit, shall we, and talk about Andres Warner, because he's continuing to dominate here today.
Yeah, he's extended the gap now out to 16 seconds over Adam Shipstone. Last time around as well, Will, was 1.5 seconds faster. Adam Shipstone obviously having a little bit of an issue. One of the things I am going to quickly mention that while we were away that I did see happen, Lucas Seville went from 3rd to 5th. As Robert Grosser gets himself past Ryan Hellier. So Robert Grosser now moves himself into the top 10 once again and back onto the lead lap as well. Seems as everyone has now settled down.
Yeah, so let's go back on board with Robert Grosser now in P number 10. But you're right, the Ville has fallen down the timing sheets a little bit, down to P number 5. Any update on what happened?
That I can't tell you. I know that he did have an extremely slow lap. I'm not sure whether that was his out lap or something went wrong, but he did lose quite a lot of positions. I didn't get a chance to go and find out what happened. He is slowly making his way back up the field, though. He is looking to challenge Henry Bennett, who is 3.5 seconds up the road. Although last time round, they matched each other more or less on lap times, just 1/10 difference.
Yeah, so back up a little bit in your field. Let's actually turn our attention to Lucas Seville and have a look at the gap between himself and Henry Bennett. Well, he lost 1.4 seconds on lap number 37, and then he's lost a further half a tenth on lap number 38. So, Seville just looks as though he's struggling all of a sudden. I don't see any real damage to that car, though.
I can't either at the moment, and it just looks as though maybe he's, I don't know, what's happened? Maybe the track has started to rubber up, and the car just isn't used to it. Looking at the front end, the car looks completely clean. Nice straight wing for Lucas Seville, and same all the way around. No damage on the number 2 car. I think it's just a case of he had a bit of a bad lap. He has come back up to speed this time around, doing a 1:18.117 there, Will. I just have a feeling he just had a bad lap and lost quite a lot of positions.
Yeah, I can agree with that one. As Seville then remains in P number 5. Lost a quarter of a second that last time by Jos van der Ven, running in P number 10, although is now behind Robert Grosser, trying to stay ahead of Veseyula Ollier right now. Although Ollier last time by gained 3 seconds over Jos van der Ven, who did a 1:22.662.
Yeah, Jos van der Ven, extremely slow lap from him.
Oh my word! As Andres Warner, he's lost the race lead. Something's happened to Warner. Replay up now. Oh my word! What's happened to him? He's had a moment. We need to find it there. Down into 1 by the looks of it.
It does look like that indeed. Andreas Werner coming through 14 nice and easily under the Chevrolet bridge. Instead of 1, he got loose. Oh, the car snapped through turn number 1. Heavy on the left-hand side. And yes, his car on the left-hand side is heavily damaged, and day over for Andreas Werner. That gives Talk Freak Racing and Adam Shipstone the lead in the Classic IndyCar Series, but he has got Joni Kainen 3 seconds behind. So, commentator's curse, I think that is there, Will.
I'll tell you one thing, Andy Warner has about as bad luck in these races as Toyota did until this past weekend at Le Mans.
Yeah, sorry if we just spoiled Le Mans to any of you, but of course...
Toyota won when they're clearly going to win. They've got 2 LMP1 cars and they're in a hybrid. We're not spoiling anything.
Nah, everyone knew it was going to happen, but Andreas Werner just hitting that wall of bad luck. He is back out and going again, but he has lost a lot of time. He's now down in 8th position. And the next car is Carsten Brodby, 9 seconds up the road. So, bad luck for Andreas Werner. He drops down to P number 8. Adam Shipstone into the lead.
Yeah, I mean, you might well have said that, you know, Germany won the football as well. Oh, wait a minute. No, that didn't happen, did it? Sorry, Germany. But Andreas Werner then, he's having to bring that car home on towards pit road. He has done himself a service. The issue is, though, he can just about make it to the end.
He can. And Robert Grosser is down onto the pit lane as well. This is as early. Oh no, it's not, because he made an early stop. This is a scheduled stop for Robert. So he's now going to tumble back through the field there, Will, because obviously he had to come and get damage repairs around 31 laps ago. So Robert Grosser down onto the lane for a scheduled stop. I'm getting confused now, but yes, it just looks as though I think everyone's just trying to settle down into that rhythm. Andreas Werner hadn't just found it.
Yeah, so Robert Grosser out and away then. And it's a time for him of... Let me just get my graphics up. 12.2 seconds. He can go to the end from here.
He can. Yes, he can. This is going to be Robert Grosser's last stop. So yes, that is a good point. Very good point. He is going to have to run a full stint, though, whereas everyone else is going to be on around 10, 11 laps of fuel by the time they come down to the lane there, Will. So Robert Grosser is going to be an advantage disadvantage where he's going to be on low fuel and old tyres, whereas everyone else is going to be on low fuel and new tyres come the final stages of this race.
Yeah, let's check out Carsten Brodby right now, number 35 machine, as he is battling it out with Hans Pitcairn. And gained 7 seconds that last time by. So Hans Pitcairn had a very slow lap like last time around here. A 127.118 issues with the number 8 car. I think he got held up behind Werner, though.
I'm just looking. I think he may have done. He did, yes, he did. Oh, in fact, actually, he had a spin, Will. That's where Hans Pitcairn has lost all of his time. He went for a little bit of a spin through on the exit of turn number 8. On the run down to... Oh, actually, no, sorry, it was turn number 10 that he went for a spin. So that is why Hans Pitcairn has lost all the time, and the Carsten Brodby is now closing him down. Randy Shoemake as well, the number 3 machine, down onto the lane. He is stopped, looking as though he will make his final stop of the race after a 9-lap stint as Andreas Werner, 1 minute 17.1, fastest lap of your motor race so far.
He's a man on a mission. Let's go on board and ride a lap with him. Maybe looking for 116 this time by.
He would be the first driver during the race to be able to get down into a 1 minute 16. We know he has the pace because he managed to qualify himself pole by 0.4 of a second. So do not count him out for being able to get down into a 1 minute 16. He only has to knock another 10th off of his lap time. But Andreas Werner clearly on a charge. Henry Bennett, Robert Grosser, that's a battle that isn't happening that I thought was.
Few more corners to go this lap then for Andreas Werner. Very close to the tyre barrier. Let's listen in again. Slow up by half a second.
Yeah, it just looks like that lap wasn't as clean for Andreas Werner, and I think that's what he needed. I think he might be coming to the point where he's pushed that car enough. His tyres are brand new, and he is running a full tank of fuel. So 1 minute 17 on the full tank of fuel compared to the 1 minute 17.3s he was running on an empty tank of fuel. Will, you can tell that he wants to build up some positions, and he is catching Carsten Brodby faster than you could ever believe.
John Elsworm has had a moment. Looped the car around into the wall out of the event.
Yeah, John Elsworm had already had issues earlier on during the event there, Will. And I think, again, he's just had even more issues. A single car incident by the looks of it through and the exit of turn at number 5. Same place as Robert Grosser, same place as Joshua Chin.
So we're now down to 19 cars, 18 cars circulating on track of the 29 who were eligible to start this event. So Lucas Laville, having a look at him right now, it's not a case of who's the fastest driver on track, Jack, because Lucas Laville's been the second fastest driver today, but how few mistakes you can make in this event.
And I think that's why Adam Shipstone is currently up in the lead, because, okay, he's not been the fastest guy all day. His best lap of the race is still half a second off Andreas Werner, and his lap times at the moment are nearly a second slower than what Andreas is setting. But he's just been able to keep it nice and clean, and he's currently holding that lead. Gap is still around 1.6 seconds back to Joni Kainen. Joni Kainen, actually, in fact, is closing that down, Will, so we could have a battle for the lead on our hands.
Yeah, as Joni, let's have a look at his laps, actually. Because the last couple of laps, he has been within touching distance. In fact, look at that. He's gained 7 tenths over the last 3.
Yeah, lap times this time around. Adam Shipstone, 1 minute 18.240. Joni Kainen, 1 minute 17.8. So another 4 tenths on that last lap. Now on to lap number 46. Still a long way to go in this race yet. Well, almost a full field stint. So these drivers still have to keep it nice and clean, nice and steady, and nice in a rhythm. You do not want to be pushing 100% at this point as Robert Grosser gets his way past Andrew Wood for position number 11.
Yeah, let's get ourselves a second look at that one, shall we? If we can. There we are. This is going to be then the driver of Robert Grosser on board of him. Oh, he's already made the pass by the time we go to the replay. Over Andrew Wood. Oh, no, we've got an incident there. That's what I just see. The 32 car Wood actually had a spin.
He did. He had a half spin, I'd say, coming out of turn at number 11 on the run down to turn number 12 there. A little bit too early on the power. 9,000 RPM kill switch, I think, starting to kick in for him. And Robert Grosser getting his way past nice and easy. Effortless pass there for your number 1 machine. His next target is Vesa Julia Ollier, but he is 14 seconds down the road, Will. I just don't think, even with the amount of laps that we still have remaining in this event, I just don't think that's possible, because that's almost a second a lap, leaving around 7 or 8 laps to be able to get past before the checkered flag flies.
Yeah. Our coverage today of the Classic IndyCar Series is brought to you by Logical Innovative Engineering, title sponsor of the Classic IndyCar Series. Coverage also brought to you in part by Joe Realtime, the associate partner of the Classic IndyCar Series. And of course, our coverage today brought to you by And One Design, the official graphics partner of RaceSpot TV. Next time the Classic IndyCar Series will be on track. We'll be at Richmond in a couple of weeks' time. Now, of course, Richmond is a track which is notorious for cautions. It can't be as bad as 18 like we had last time out, like at Milwaukee.
I would hope not. Richmond is going to be a very exciting circuit. It's only a 3/4 mile long. And for anyone who watched Milwaukee just 2 weeks ago, you'll know that at a mile long, it still took a while to complete a green lap. So hopefully at Richmond, we do not see as many cautions as we did 2 weeks ago. But I think it's going to be an interesting race, fitting as many cars as we've had this season, Will, on such a short oval, going at such high speeds.
Yeah, indeed so. So having a look then still at... actually, just looking at Yusuf Ollier right now versus Jos van der Ven. This is the gap for P number 10 on track, and Ollier is coming.
Ollier is coming. I've been watching this for about half a lap or so, Will, and Ollier is quicker than Jos van der Ven at the moment. Does look like there is a little bit of lap traffic in front of Vesa as it stands. That is Randy Shoemake. Randy Shoemake should be getting out of the way, but in fact, actually, I think they are all on the same lap as Sasha Lamp brings his car down to the lane with 25 laps remaining, just a 21 lap stint for him. I think he's trying to split it half and half to save his tyres.
Yeah, I think so. So Lamp then making himself his second service of the day. Let's go and give a little bit of attention to that one. Engine revs, out and away.
And also just looking, just keeping an eye on this battle between Vessi Ollie and Jos van der Ven. There was a car in the wall on the exit of turn number 4, I believe. That is Benjamin Gregory. He has taken it down to the lane. His day is surely over now, Will, because that's the second incident he's had. I don't think Belle is treating him very well. He is running down at the rear of your field, a number of laps down. Yeah,
indeed. So actually talking about Benjamin Gregory, he actually didn't meet the qualifying target time until he got into this session, Jack. So leaving it late to even get himself into the event.
Yeah, obviously, one thing that has been kept a little bit hush about this event is that the drivers had to complete 10 laps to qualify to race at Belle Isle because of the difficulty of the circuit. Don't forget that the drivers have only had access to this for 2 weeks, and learning such a difficult circuit in such a short period of time, being able to drive it consistently for over 5 laps is hard enough, over 72 is another. I think Benjamin Gregory is just struggling to get to grips with this circuit, Will, and I think that's definitely showing. He qualified very late for this event. Everyone else getting it done during the week, making sure they had plenty of practice.
Lamp stay on board of him then through 13-14. He's close, within 3/10 of a second right now, but got a lot of work to do to try and find the speed. Now, of course, this is an older style IndyCar, so you haven't got the magical push-to-passes that you can use compared to the IR18, Jack. Got to do it with your right foot.
Yeah, everything has to be done with the right and left foot, or the in-car controls, which I'd probably say you don't want to be using too much on this street course. And on road courses, that is going to unsettle the car too much. Push to pass was not even a dream in the Verizon IndyCar series back when this car was running. But Sasha Lamp is showing he has just come out on the pits. He is on fresher tyres. Carson Brovely's tyres are 16.5 laps old now. Sasha Lamp's are just 1.5 lap old. So he's going to try and get himself back up a few positions, but he also has to bear in mind that at some point Carson Brovely is going to come down onto the lane and probably actually undercut him if Sasha Lamp gets past, because Carson Brovely is going to need a shorter pit stop as Vessi Ollie now brings his 996 screen machine down onto the lane.
Yeah, it's the Monster Energy Tequila Patron machine then. Don't mix the two of them together. I've done that once. Not a good mix.
I must admit I've never tried it, and I think I'm going to take your advice on that one.
Is that Monster or Tequila Patron? Or both?
Both.
Yeah. Monster's okay, unless you're diabetic, in which case you have to have the Ultra Energy, as that's right across Nate's trucking car on pit road. Although you need to have ID now to buy energy drinks, which you're not yet eligible for, Jack. So, like alcohol, you can't actually have energy drinks at the moment.
I can, because it's 16.
I thought it's 18.
No, it's 16.
Well, if you're old enough to be able to do a couple of other things, you're not old enough to vote, apparently, but you're still old enough to procreate and drink energy drinks. Welcome to government in 2018, on board a Lamp again.
Yeah, Sasha Lamp still trying to get his way past Carson Brovely. That battle between the 35 and the 42 has gapped out a little bit. We are on the long straight from the run down to 6 and 7. I'd probably argue that there's a corner halfway through that, although some would probably class it as a kink, others would class it as a corner there. Well, Sasha Lamp, though, closing up megally through 7 and 8. Is he going to be able to challenge on the exit of 11 into 12? He might be able to. Talkfreak Racing is very strong here today, showing that they are one of the teams you need to watch out for coming up through the Classic IndyCar series. They are new to it this year and already learning a lot of lessons very quickly, leading their first laps here today.
Yeah, as Lamp. Well, you talk about American corner numbering systems. Do you understand any American corner numbering system, like Sonoma, for example? 3A, 3B, then there's corners that don't actually have a corner at all to them, so on and so forth. I'm trying to remember which is another bad one. Laguna Seca, turn number 1, isn't actually turn number 1.
No, turn number 1 is a kink at Laguna Seca, and I'm not really sure how you can have an A or a B corner. If you had different layouts, I could probably argue with it, but having a 3A, 3B, for me, is just pointless.
I completely agree. Let's go back then and have a look at your overall race lead battle for the moment, because Adam Shipstone has got himself a 1.5 second advantage over Jörn Kalschen. And now, I was just trying to do the math here. As it stands, Andreas Warner will be 10 seconds behind Shipstone even if he doesn't make another pit stop.
Actually, Andreas Werner could get to the end.
That's what
from
I mean.
Here. Yeah.
Andreas Werner doesn't need to make another pit stop, but Adam Shipstone does.
And also, something has just come up on my timing screen. Joni Kynan is now within a second of Adam Shipstone as Andrew Wood comes down to the lane to make his second stop. But one thing we also have to look at is Andreas Werner, last time around, 1 minute 17.3. He did set a fastest lap just a couple of laps ago. Once again, he's getting closer to that 1 minute 16, 1 minute 17 flat now. But Adam Shipstone, 1 minute 17.6. He is much slower than Andreas Werner is. I think Andreas Werner might be able to close up that gap. I wonder whether, even though he's had that incident, Will, he might still get the undercut.
Well, it'll be close. I mean, I know that Werner can't go much faster. It's more a case of Shipstone having to start making some mistakes, in my opinion. But Yannick Kelsham now within a second, that might be it. If these two start fighting together, they might both lose a shot at the race lead to Andy Werner.
Henry Bennett as well from third position down onto the lane to make his second stop. 27 lap stint for him. He is going to go for a 20 lap stint to get him home to the end of this race. Lucas Seville passes him to get back up onto the podium for now. But yes, Adam Shipstone, in my view, he's either got to get caught up in a good battle with Joni Kynan and lose a lot of time, or he has to start making mistakes. In my opinion, this is Adam Shipstone or Joni Kynan's race to lose, but do not count out Andreas Werner, because although he has had an incident, he could become, or he could pull off a comeback drive, which we probably have never seen, or haven't seen for a long time at least.
Sasha Lamp on the rear of Carson Borderway. 4 tenths per second between the two of them. Let's go on board then with Sasha Lamp. It just seems to be, Jack, that some of these drivers can get within about 4 tenths per second on Sector 3, but they can't hold it through the high-speed Turn 1 and 2.
I'm not really sure about that one, because Sector 3 is quite twisty, and that, especially that section of the circuit, it's very hard to navigate. I wonder whether it's just a case of they're carrying a little bit more speed than the driver ahead, and then, I mean, turn number 1, turn number 2, that is a difficult section of the course, Will, because you have to change direction very quickly to be able to even make turn number 2 without hitting that outside wall.
Yeah, you do. As we stay on board of Lamp for the moment then. 5 tenths per second. You see he closed in quite dramatically through 8 into 9 and now 10. Looks to the outside just a little bit, but that slows him down quite a lot. He's going to lose 4 car lengths as a consequence.
Yeah, he was very almost into the outside wall on the exit of 11. I think he did very well actually to keep it out of the wall there, Will. But yes, he has lost a lot of ground. Gap now back up to 8 tenths. Your battle for the lead is now within a second. Joni Kynan has cut that lead for Adam Shipstone from around 4 seconds, I think it was. It's now 6 tenths, Will.
It is. Let's have a look then at Jörn Carlson as he'll through the Motor City Bridge. Worth noting, both these drivers should be on pit road in the next 5 to 6 laps.
Yeah, their stint lengths. Joni Kynan is 1 lap longer than Adam Shipstone, so I'd expect to see Joni Kynan down onto the lane first, and then Adam Shipstone down onto the lane after him. Adam is going to have to take around, I think it's about 15 laps of fuel. Not even that. I think it's going to be about 13 laps of fuel for him to be able to get to the end of this race, Will. So these drivers are only going to be making a 4 or 5 second pit stop. What you also have to now consider is, will they take tyres? Because if they take tyres, it could be that the tyres are now going to take longer than the fuel.
Yeah, you need to normally put about 7 seconds worth of fuel into the tank to make taking tyres a non-time deficit, as I like to call it. That's just a set of made-up words, I think they're non-time deficit, but you kind of know what I mean. So as it stands, I think that Shipstone has enough of an advantage that he can try and go for it. That'll be the difference, of course, between him and Werner a little bit as well, and being able to stay out ahead of Andreas Werner.
Yeah, I think Andreas Werner just needs to keep it nice and steady for himself now. He can get to the end with 18 laps remaining for himself. I think he might have to do a little bit of fuel saving though, Will.
Yeah, he might do. I say 31 laps it's going to be towards the end of the event for him. The good thing about this race is we know it's running to a lap distance here today. It's not going to run to time. We've only done about an hour 15 minutes of this race according to time, so we've still got plenty of time to go and 20 minutes, less than 20 laps to go. They're predicting it's going to be completed in 22 minutes, Jack.
Yeah, I think I would agree with that one, in fact, actually, because the lap here is not that much over a minute. We're getting, I think it's every 3 laps, probably done every 5 or so minutes, 4 or so minutes, Will. So it is going to be a case of it's not going to run, it's going to be full distance. First full distance race we've had in a couple of rounds as well, after running at ovals with Sasha Lamb deep again into turn number 11. He's struggling there as Andreas Werner now is up battling for 5th with Hans Pitkänen. He doesn't want to lose too much time behind Hans, because that is going to hinder him getting back up towards the front of your pack, as Adam Shipstone and Joni Kynan are both stuck in battles. Andreas Werner is almost a second quicker constantly now, Will, on every single lap.
Yeah, Sasha Lamb at number 42 machine, still having a look at him in that number 42 car, as we say, versus Carson Bodaway. But Andreas Werner versus Adam Shipstone, well, Shipstone does retaliate a little bit then. It's 4 tenths to a second slower compared to a second slower. That doesn't sound like much difference and not something to shout about, but the thing is, with Shipstone, he needs to be no slower than 1 second a lap slower over Andy Werner.
I'm just looking at the gaps at the moment between those two. As it stands right now, the gap between Adam Shipstone and Andreas Werner is 42 seconds. So in fact, bearing in mind that Adam Shipstone's last pit lane from start to finish was 33 seconds, Will, I don't think Andreas Werner's done enough to get up towards the front of your field. He will take 3rd from Lucas Ville, because Lucas Ville is in 24 seconds up the road from him. But, of course, we are going to have the shortened pit stop. Adam Shipstone and Joni Kynan have to both now make mistakes for Andreas Werner to head his 06 car down into victory lane. Yeah, you talk about Andreas Werner not doing enough. There's not much more than he could have done, except maybe not just bin that car on the racetrack at one point at turn 1. Of course, the biggest thing for Andy Werner is that he lost that car at the worst possible opportunity. Down at turn 1, he had to drive a cramped car all the way around the racetrack. Yeah, he lost it very early on in the lap. If he'd have done it a little bit later in the lap, as he looks to get past Hans Pitkänen. Hans Pitkänen staying hard to the left. He's now got the outside line. I think, yeah, Hans Pitkänen going to get out of the way for Andy Werner. Andy Werner, though, look at that, extremely deep. But Hans Pitkänen not close enough to make a comeback. A little bit of contact with the wall there, I think, Will, on the exit of turn number 7 on the run-up to turn number 8. But Andreas Werner moves himself up back into the top 5. And he is now looking forward. 7 seconds to Henry Bennett ahead of him. Bennett has come down to lane to make his 2nd stop of the race. So in fact, Andreas Werner, I think the best he might be able to do now is P number 4. Yeah, there's a replay then of Andy Werner making himself that pass, and that's him then going a little bit deep as a consequence of him trying to secure that position. But he is in P number 5 as it stands right now, as we'll take you back to live footage here. And Henry Bennett then has made himself, you're right, his 2nd pit stop of the day. And he is currently 6 seconds ahead of Andy Werner. So, I mean, it's still a long way to go in this event. I mean, not the type of, oh, there's still a long way. There's only 22 hours and a 24-hour race to go. Still a long way in terms of this event, though. They've still got 14 laps. Yeah, they still have got a long way to go. When you think about it, 14 laps, especially at Belle, it's not a very long circuit. You might, it's only 15, 20 minutes. But actually, a lot could happen in that gap between Andreas Werner and Henry Bennett since since 1 lap ago, Will. It's already now 6.5 seconds. It was 7.5 seconds when Andreas Werner managed to get himself past Hans Pitkänen. So that gap is coming down fast. And actually, I think Andreas Werner might have a chance to get himself past the car of Henry Bennett. Pit stops will be happening and starting to happen in the next few laps. First of your leaders I expect to see down on the pit lane is the 2nd position driver of Joni Kynan in the 77 machine, currently in a battle for the lead with Adam Shipstone. They're heading out down into turn number 7 as it stands on lap number 59. 13 laps remaining. They're going to need less than 10 laps of fuel to get to the end. Andreas Werner, though, on a charge. 1 minute 17 flat once again. Fastest lap of your race. Yeah, 1:17.037. Compare that to 1:17.711 for Adam Shipstone. Going to Carlton like last time by, starting to really put the pressure onto Shipstone as well. The gap is only 3/4 of a second, and well,
Yoni might want to come on towards pit road now, try and do the undercut, but he doesn't. He stays out. Gap down to half a second.
I think for Yoni Kainen, I think if Adam Shipstone comes onto the lane early, he needs to carry on and go longer, because he means he'll have a shorter pit stop. Coming in now means he's going to have a longer pit stop, Will. That's going to put him on the back foot just slightly. No. It's going to be, what, half a second? Yeah, it's going to be about half a second difference, I reckon. But he had, I think, a little bit of contact with the wall on the outside of turn number 2. Hasn't hindered him at all. But yes, pit stops are going to be very important. Okay, the time's not going to be that different as Robert Grosser gets himself past Jos van der Ven as Jos van der Ven comes down to the lane to make his second stop. But you do not want to be making that mistake of taking that too much fuel or more fuel than you really need to get to the end. If you can cross that line and it then splutters, you're fine. You're done. Andreas Werner, though, 1 minute 16.8, Will. He's done it. He's done sub 17.
Yeah, so Andy Warner then really wants to get something out of this event. He knows that P number 4 is now a possibility because of where Henry Bennett is. But Andy Warner is pushing as, let's have a look at his last lap time. There is confirmation for Andy Warner, 1:16.805 last time by.
Indeed so, and compare that to Henry Bennett's 1 minute 17.657. That gap is now down to 5.2 seconds, and that is closing. We have 12 laps left in this motor race. Your 2 leaders stay out on track at the moment. They are trying to go for as long as possible, but do not forget that Andreas Werner is running on tyres which are 12 laps older than Henry Bennett. That clearly isn't stopping him there, Will.
Right. Another good lap then by Andy Warner as he's now got himself turn number 12 ahead. Through there. 13. Flat out towards 14. 1:17.111 that last time by.
And Henry Bennett did a 1 minute 17.791. Gap down now to 4.5 seconds. He's getting closer and closer. Henry Bennett, though, is going to be on a slightly heavier fuel load at the moment, Will. And I think that might be starting to play into Andreas Werner's hands a little bit more, even if he is on the 20-lap old tyres.
Yeah, Sasha Lamp versus Carson Broadway. We've been talking about this one pretty much all race long. Sasha Lamp, however, 6 tenths behind Broadway in that number 35 car. Both drivers inside your top 10 right now. Both drivers on your lead lap right now. But Sasha Lamp desperately trying to find a way past at number 35 Club DX machine.
And Joni Kainen, I predicted it that he would be the first of your front 2 down onto the lane. He is indeed. 31 lap stint. He needs 11 laps now to get himself to the finish. Adam Shipstone has gone for 1 more lap. If he does a 31 lap stint, I expect him on the lane this time. Lucas Seville going to go past, inheriting second position. Did a 1 minute 16.874. So he is now the second driver in your race to be able to get down into the 1 minute 16s. He almost got the fastest lap of the race there, Will, on the 30 lap old tyres, excuse me. Andreas Werner still holds that one though. Joni Kainen back out and running. He is ahead of Andreas Werner by 12 seconds. That's what matters. Hans Pitkänen now down onto the lane.
Yeah, so Pitkänen making his second and final service of the day. Carlson came out 10 seconds ahead of Henry Bennett, who turns 2.4 ahead of Andy Warner as it stands. Pit stop then, Hans Pitkänen. 7.3 seconds out and away. Now let's go back and have a look at Warner continuing to try and hound down the driver of Henry Bennett.
And Adam Shipstone, your leader, now brings his car down onto pit lane. Lucas Laville is going to inherit the lead because he is on the lap or stint, a strategy, which is again longer than Adam Shipstone. So Lucas Laville goes past, or will do, and inherit the lead. But yes, Andreas Werner, the gap between himself and Henry Bennett now 2.5 seconds. Will, last time around, Henry Bennett had an extremely slow lap of 1 minute 19.1 compared to Andreas Werner's 1 minute 17.0.
Wow. A Shipstone's out and away then. 6.5 second pit stop. Out onto track. 27.1 end to end. And he is ahead of Yoni.
He was, and he had a faster end-to-end time by around 9/10 of a second. So Adam Shipstone is going to be currently holding on to your lead. He's just got to survive 9 more laps after this one, and he will bring himself down onto victory lane for the first time in his IndyCar Classic IndyCar Series career. He also has to hold off from Joni Kynan. And Kynan, though, so far, Will, has not been close enough to make a challenge. Andreas Werner, Henry Bennett, that battle is still, or the gap is still coming down, although it's still 2.5 seconds as it stands, because Henry Bennett last time out was only 0.2 slower than Andreas Werner.
Yeah, just having a look then through your field for any outstanding battles. Well, this is the biggest one that is still on track. This is Joni, and, well, new tyres. Do you think this could make a difference at all to Joni? It is 1 lap longer tyres, but you're not going to feel that over the course of this run to the flag.
I don't think so, especially on the lower fuel. It's going to be seeing much faster lap times. Lucas Laville is going for a 32 lap stint now, Will. He's going to have to take even less fuel. He has got a lead of over Adam Shipstone of 9.5 seconds. He isn't going to hold on to that one. He's probably not going to hold on to his lead over Henry Bennett, which is 20 seconds. I can actually see Lucas Laville slipping from 1st to 5th when he brings his 2 machine down onto the lane.
Yeah, there is Lucas Laville. When is he going to come on towards pit road underneath the pure Michigan Bridge right now? Less than 10 laps to go here in this event. 9 to go right now. So it's about 8.5 to go, actually, if your name is Lucas Laville. And you've got to wonder whether or not this was the best choice for him going ultra long in this event.
I'm not sure. I think it might not have paid off for him. Of course, he is going to have to take a minimum amount of fuel, but I would probably say that he is going to change tyres, and in fact, the tyres is going to take longer than the fuel, but at this point, well, 8 laps, although if he does fuel only and stays on this set of tyres, which is an option for him, he's still doing 1:17s. I think he could do it. He's going to bring his car down onto the lane this time. Going to be interesting to see what strategy he goes with.
Yeah, so on towards pit road then for the final time for Lucas Laville. You've got the time graphic up for him. He should stay ahead of Warner. I think he might be behind Bennett, though.
I'm not sure. We're going to wait and see. The gap is coming down. He's gone for the fuel-only strategy. 4.8 seconds stop. He is out. Andreas Werner and Henry Bennett both get past. Sasha Lamp, though, is going to be quite a long way behind. So Lucas Laville is going to exit the pits in 5th, Will. Wow. He is only 2 seconds back from Andreas Werner, who in turn is now only 1.6 seconds back from Henry Bennett. That gap is closing. We are going to have a final lap. I think we're going to have a final lap battle between those two. And also, Adam Shipstone, Joni Kynan, and that battle's still going on. That is going to go right down to the wire.
Yeah, here's a look at your top 8 as it stands right now. Adam Shipstone leads the way. Not by that much, though. We can tell you that one. Cauldron in 2nd place. Henry Bennett in 3rd. Andy Warner in 4th. Lucas Laville falls back into P number 5. Sasha Lamp, Hans Pitkinen, and Carson Broadway round out your top 8 as it stands right now. We don't need to have a driver of the day here today, but of course we do have the Joe Real Timing Clean Driver Award. And I think that Shipstone, in my opinion, is probably closest to getting that.
I can see about 7 or 8 drivers currently on my timing screen who would be eligible for that award. I'm not sure how it is chosen, though, so I'm not going to comment on who wins it. But if it comes down to the person who puts in the best performance, I think Shipstone, he's just had a nice, clean race. He's learned so much since joining this series. He didn't join it right at the start either. He joined after the first couple of rounds, Will, and he has already proven that he is a very fast driver, very capable driver here at Belle Isle. But Belle Isle is a very technical circuit. Andreas Werner once again going even quicker. The gap between himself and Henry Bennett now down to a 2nd, and that's because last time around he did a 1:16.695. His car is getting quicker and quicker every single lap. He has 6 more laps remaining in this race after this one.
And he's now fighting to be on the podium again. Bennett is the driver that is stopping him from doing so. The gap is 1 second as they work themselves towards turn number 7 and 8 one more time. There'll be 6 to go at the line, and Werner, well, this is where Werner makes a lot of mistakes over the past, though, so he's got to be careful not to overdrive this car.
Yeah, he just looks as though he is taking it a little bit more cautiously now as we come to the end of this race. That gap is still coming down now. It's 8 tenths. He's in the draft range and he is closing it even more. This fast section, that gap is coming down even more, Will. So Andreas Werner looking to get himself past Henry Bennett. 6 laps remaining now in this race here at Belle Isle. And I must say, what a debut it has been for this circuit on RaceSpot TV.
Oh, it's been fantastic. Fantastic racing here today. Retirees, well, we've had a lot of them. Ben Gregory, Johnny Garrett, John Elsweimer, Klaus Pedersen, Josh Chin, Jan Hoffman, Dan Winton, Joshua Bard, Randy Krosno, Matt Molnar, Dave Costello, Andrew Ellis Saunders, and Jonathan Diggs.
Yeah, Jonathan Diggs didn't even take to the start of this race. Everyone else finding trouble, mostly with those concrete walls, which I was talking about earlier. Andreas Werner very close to the concrete wall through turn number 7 there. Or turn number 6, sorry, as we run on the rundown now to turn number 7. He is even closer this time. 3 tenths, not close enough to make a move. Next lap, Andreas, I think turn number 7 is going to be where he tries to put in the move.
That's if he gets good enough traction onto these long straightaways. He's got very good traction though into 9. And into 10. Oh, it almost looks like he could try to do the dummy there and slide it down the inside at 10, but it can be so difficult as they now work towards 12. Bit of a wiggle there for Warner through 13. You don't really pass through 14. And starting a new lap then. 5 more to go.
5 more to go indeed into 1 and 2 once again. Andreas Werner, you can see they're running very similar lines. Andreas Werner slightly wider on the exit of 2. The car giving it a good old wobble over the bump from turn number 2. Henry Bennett quick over to the left-hand side. Andreas Werner not close enough to make an attempt into turn number 4. And in fact, actually, you can see there, Will, they're taking slightly different lines. Andreas Werner is much tighter through these corners. I think, I'm not sure what's going on with Henry Bennett's car, but Andreas Werner, as he goes through turn number 5 and turn number 6, this is where he needs the good traction. He makes contact with the wall there, Will, on the inside of turn number 6. That has ruined his run onto the back straight into turn number 7. The gap is 4 tenths. It's gone out this lap. Andreas Werner, he is making a few sloppy mistakes. That's not what we want to see in the closing stages as he tries to get himself back onto the podium.
It's not there for Warner as he is continuing to push though in that 4th position. Let's go back to your race leader for the moment. And Jörn Kaldron is 1 second right now behind Adam Shipstone in that battle for the race lead. Well, for Shipstone, this could well be victory number 1 for TalkFreak Racing in this series. However, still 3 laps to go, and Jörn Kaldron is still putting on a fantastic job.
Yeah, they're matching each other for lap times. Gap is still around the 1 second mark. Last time around, both doing a 17.4. So they're both still running pretty cleanly. I think they just decided to settle down. And in fact, battle for position number 3. Henry Bennett going to be defending the inside line. Andreas Werner going for the undercut. Henry Bennett wide on the exit of turn number 4. Andreas Werner into turn number 5. I think he might have got the move done there, Will. No, Henry Bennett's going to come back, but Henry Bennett goes deep. Almost into that tyre barrier. Andreas Werner moves himself back onto the podium. He goes deep. Can Henry Bennett capitalise off that on the run down to 7? I think he's going to try to. He's going to be looking left. He can't go right because of the concrete wall. Andreas Werner sticks right. Henry Bennett goes left into turn number 7. Henry Bennett trying to go around the outside, almost making contact with the wall. Andreas Werner spins. Werner spins, and he is out of this. Not out of this event, but he drops down to position number 5. Lucas Laville now getting himself up to position number 4, and almost again.
Wow. Having a look at Andreas Warner then on board of him. And this is where, well, we're going to replay for quite a while actually to give you the full experience on board with Andy Warner, because they were side by side for a long time before Warner spun his car. Warner has lost 1 position to Lucas Laville, by the way, through 1 and 2. And this is where we see lunge number 1 to the outside. Does the under move, gets it through. But then Warner just overshoots a little bit, and that allowed Henry Bennett to kind of come into play. And then Bennett overshoots. Warner is then going to overshoot. This is going to allow the driver Henry Bennett to close back up again in towards turn number 7. But then Andy Warner just cracks a little bit under the pressure. No contact. He just looped it by himself.
Yeah, nice clean racing from those two. Andreas Werner, he almost had the position. I just think he was pushing a little bit too hard there, Will. The pressure was far too much. He's got 2 more laps remaining. I wonder whether he can get his way past Lucas Laville. He's only another second up the road. Lucas Laville is slower than what Andreas Werner was setting pace times for. Laville running in the 118s because he is on such old tyres now, Will. Werner might be able to capitalise on that. Your race lead, though, still Adam Shipstone from Yanni Konen.
Yeah, and that gap's come down to 3 tenths for a second right now. Just eked back up to over half a second, but Yoni is looking as though he's going to put the pressure on Adam Shipstone over the last lap and a half of this one. So we have then got a grandstand finish here at Belle Isle.
Andreas Werner as well. He clearly all worked up after that little spin. He's gone faster again. Another fastest lap of your motor race. But this lead battle, Yoni Kainen is not close enough to make a move at the moment. We are going to have the white flag when they cross the line this time. And I'm not sure whether Kainen has got enough time to get past Adam Shipstone now, Will.
Not. Werner versus Lucas Laville. 8 tenths per second. A lap to get the job done.
Yeah, he's got 1 more lap to do it. Andreas Werner has got within a second. Yoni Kainen making contact with a wall through 12 and 13. But Andreas Werner is closing up on Lucas Laville as they come through turn number 10 and 11 for the second to last time. But Andreas Werner going deep. Lap car on the inside, just getting out of the way. I believe that is Robert Grosser. But Andreas Werner, once again, he's going to try and get back past Lucas Laville, position number 4. I think he's pushing too hard, though, Will. Bit like battle for the lead. Yoni Kainen has closed on Adam Shipstone through 4. They have had the white flag now. I just don't think, unless Kainen can get a run into turn number 7, I think this is Adam Shipstone's.
Yeah, it looks like it will be. But at least for the time being, Shipstone has been fantastic here today, barely putting a foot wrong. Now on that run down towards turn number 7. Last overtaking opportunity if your name is Jenny Carlian. Not Carlian, but you know what I mean. Cardinal can't do so into 7 there, Jack.
No, just not close enough, and I think that is the opportunity's gone. Look at the gap between them. It's only 3 tenths of a second. This is the closest it's been for a race lead since the start of the race, Will, and we're now on the final lap. Coming out to turn number 11, down to turn number 12 for the final time. Yoni Kainen looking to the inside. Contact with the wall on the run in. He's not close enough.
He's not, but look how close he is through 13 to the line. Almost a photo finish, separated by just 2 car lengths. It will be Adam Shipstone winning here at Belle Isle, and what a victory then by him. He was calm, he was collected, and he holds on to take victory here today by 1.5 tenths of a second.
And Andreas Werner, I'm not sure what's happened to him. He ran out of fuel. Andreas Werner wasn't fueled to the end, so even if he was in the lead, I think he ran out of fuel on the final lap there, Will.
Well, anything that could have gone wrong for Werner today has gone wrong for Werner today.
Yeah, it's an unlucky day for him. He was so dominant in qualifying, so dominant at this first half of the race, and the second half, not what he needed. He just needed to be careful and get it home. And again, not enough fuel to get to the end, so had he been in a good position, he would have lost it anyway, so unlucky for him. And that means that the 3rd position actually goes to Henry Bennett.
Race results coming up. Only 8 drivers finished on the lead lap here today. Adam Shipstone is your winner, winning out by 1.5 tenths of a second over Yoni Kainen. Then you got yourself Henry Bennett in 3rd, Lucas Laville in 4th, Sasha Lamp runs out your top 5. 6th place will go to Andy Werner, Hans Pitkin in 7th. In number 8, Carson Broadway, 9th, Robert Grosser, Jos van der Ven rounding out your top 10. There's the rest of the results coming up on your screen. We will step aside for a couple of moments here on Racesport TV and on iRacing Live. Get ourselves ready for some post-race interviews. This is the 6th round of the Classic IndyCar Series from Belle Isle, and we'll be back in a few moments' time. Post-race coverage here from Detroit and from the Classic IndyCar Series, boosted by Logical. Here are your top 10 one more time up on your screen. Race winner, Adam Shipstone, stood by with Jack.
Adam, first of all, congratulations on your very first win in the Classic IndyCar Series. You got that one off luck, I would say. Andreas Werner hitting bad luck. Those final stages, though, we saw you under pressure from Joni Kainen. Were you ever scared that he would be able to get his way past?
Yeah, I had a couple of paces in the race. Just tried to settle into a rhythm and keep the car out the barriers. As for the 77 car, I didn't think I'd hold him off for much longer, to be honest.
And obviously, Belle Isle, it's such a difficult track because of the bumps, and I mean, we haven't yet seen a race with this IR05. It must be difficult.
That's probably the most difficult thing I've done on iRacing. It's so bumpy, the walls just seem to get ever closer. The race distance felt like it was getting longer and longer, I'm sure of it.
And well, obviously, 2 weeks' time, we're going to Richmond for the for our second short track race of the season. I'm guessing it's just going to be a case of get as many points as you can, because you're going to move your way quite a way up the championship standings with this win today.
Yeah, ovals aren't my speciality, so try and learn from my teammates, Asher, and see if we can move up during the oval races.
Oh, well, before we go and let you celebrate with Talk Freak Racing, who would you like to give a shout out to today?
Yeah, big shout out to our sponsors, GBE and Link, and everyone else in the team. Well done all, it was a great race.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen, your winner today from Detroit. First time on victory lane for Adam Shipstone and for Talk Freak Racing in the Classic IndyCar Series. Back to you, Will.
Yeah, indeed. So, just one thing I want to notice, it was Adam Shipstone who won, by the way, not Joni Kainen. The US flag hasn't got the right number of stars on it.
I didn't spot that.
Joni Kainen, though, is in second place. You haven't got him to talk to, but we have got Henry Bennett. We're going to stand by with him right now. Henry, how was your event here today?
Pretty good. Got to be happy with third after everything that happened to me in race. Pretty disappointed with my qualifying, over half a second off what I could do in practice, so didn't get a decent lap in. So that meant I started from fifth and then made a mistake on the second lap. Just missed the braking point at the end of the straight and went straight on into the barriers, but luckily no damage. And my Oculus was playing up. It was down to about 30 frames per second for most of the first stint, because I hadn't tested it with a full field. So yeah, just surviving that race was an achievement, and so the podium is brilliant.
Yeah. So here today, able to hold on for the podium, had a couple of fantastic battles, of course, most notably with Andy Warner at the end. No contact between the two of you, but how hard was that battling? Because you were almost side by side for half a lap.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. It's just unfortunate that Andreas just spun up the wheels there at the end there when we were going tight at the end of the straight. But it seemed like we were taking it in turns to outbrake ourselves into the corners and let the other guy have another run at the other guy. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. I think if he could have held the position and not make a mistake at the next corner, he would have been able to take the third place. But yeah, a lot of fun as usual with Andreas.
Well, next time out, Richmond under the light, another oval. Looking forward to it.
Richmond's it's always a lot of fun. I think it's going to be eventful. Yeah, looking forward to it.
Just avoid that turn 2 wall, okay?
Do my best.
That's what everyone does there at Richmond. Henry Bennett coming home third place. You don't want to give a shout out to?
Everyone at Power Slide and Andrew Wood, who helped me out with the setup this week.
Well, thank you very much. Henry Bennett, third place. Lucas Seville, fourth. Stood by with Jack.
Lucas, congratulations on fourth position. I want to know, that final stint, those final 8 laps, those tyres must have been like driving on jelly.
It was, yeah. A tough call to make, and I wanted to try to see if putting no tires at the end was going to be enough to be in front of Andy and Henry. As you saw, it wasn't, and I was under pressure for like the last 2 laps with Andy behind me with the 40-lap tires. So that was quite tough, but yeah, I'm quite pissed at myself with that spin after the first stop. The race was like perfect for me up to this point. The best on fuel mileage, as usual, I would say. And I think I was faster than Adam and Yoni up front, so I knew I was going to be able to leapfrog them at the last stop if I had the perfect race. Unfortunately, I didn't have it, but I'm very happy with fourth and my best race of the season so far.
And obviously, looking forward to the rest of the season. We have probably said that's going to be the hardest circuit we go to. The only one which I could really think of which is going to equal how bumpy it is going to be on the 12th of August. We're going to be heading to Pocono, the tricky triangle for this year's 500-mile race. I mean, obviously, we've got to do Richmond first, but Pocono, that's going to be surely difficult.
It is really our 500 miler of the season is going to be a big race for sure. I'm pretty sure like a lot of people of CIS who run this year are going to be there. I expect the biggest grid out of the season at Pocono, so definitely an interesting race to watch and to be a part of, so stay tuned for that, that's for sure.
And who got it done for you today, Lucas?
Big thanks to Robert, as usual, for the work, and all the guys in CIS who make this show possible with us. And big shout out to you guys, Will and Jack for the broadcast.
Lucas Seville coming home in 4th position today at Detroit. Back to you, Will.
Yeah, indeed. So next on the docket of people to talk to is the driver of Robert Grosser. Robert, not the best day you've had out on track, but you still finish inside the top 10.
Yeah, well, that's the maximum I could expect, but really this year I really try everything to not win the championship, and I really succeed in doing so. So yeah, what can I say? This mistake so early in the race was super stupid, was completely my fault. I was trying to make a position on Sasha, who struggled a little bit. Yeah, and then I vaulted, had to tow, had to use the fast repair, and then the race was pretty much done. But yeah, P9 at the end, well, not too bad, I take it.
Well, you take it this one. It's been a tough championship for you so far. Richmond next time out, however. Less than 18 cautions, do you think?
Difficult question. I hope so. I really hope so. It can be very difficult due to the night, due to the cold temperatures and all this. So we really have to see.
Well, Robert, before we let you go, who do you want to give a shout out to?
Yeah, first of all, big shout out to our sponsor, Logical Innovative Engineering, then Joel Real Timing, then of course you guys, Will, Jack, Raceport TV for broadcasting. Also, I want to give some greetings to Matt Cook, who is just broke his arm before this race, couldn't do it. So get well soon, and hopefully see you at the latest Pocono, I guess, is realistic.
Yeah, you say that. You say that. You got a teammate called Gurguez, who once ran an IndyCar official race with one arm. So, Cook, come on, that's not an excuse, really.
Yeah.
It's true, by the way. It was on Raceport TV Primetime, Watkins Glen International. And Jack Gurguez actually did run the entire race with one working arm.
And speaking of another driver who I guess his arm is still healing, I think. Ryan Hellier finished down in 13th position. Ryan, your arm must be in agony at the moment.
Not agony right now, but it was in the last few laps. It didn't seem to affect my race too much. And even though it was kind of painful, that was an awesome race. I never competed in a series where the other drivers are so clean before.
And well, obviously, Richmond is going to be slightly easier on your arm, and we know you've taken a couple of races out to let it heal. Obviously, Matt Cook now having the same problem with a broken arm. Classic IndyCar's not really having much luck with arms at the moment. Richmond and Pocono, 2 ovals coming up for you. How are you? Is that going to be slightly different? Are you looking for a slightly better result at those tracks?
I've never driven there before, so I have no idea what to expect. I usually do worse with open setups and ovals, though, so probably not a good result, but I'm looking forward to it anyway.
And well, Ryan, before we go and let you enjoy the rest of your evening, who would you like to give a shout out to?
I'd like to give a shout out to the organisers, because this is the best run league I've competed in, other than my own, of course, but I'm biased.
Ryan Hellier finishing 13th position today.
Indeed. So that is all we've got time for here tonight. But next race will be at Richmond. I will tell you one thing, Jack. I've done many a race there. Those right front tyres, if you just push them too hard, they're going to be gone in less than 20 laps.
Richmond is going to be a very interesting circuit. Seeing how people are going to have their cars set up as well to deal with the cold conditions is going to be extremely interesting. It's not a track that I've personally raced at, but then I'm not really that much of an over racer myself. Richmond is going to be an interesting race to watch.
Yep, it's a short one, 3/4 of a mile. It is a tough one as well. Before we go, shout out, of course, to Logical Innovative Engineering, total sponsor of the Classic IndyCar Series. Also, the Joel Real-Time associate partner of the Classic IndyCar Series is Simon Ballard, TrackCamp22.com, Andreas One and And1 Design, Simon Grossman, Aptioneering.com, and Nick Disson for RaceSpot TV, live timing and scoring. That has been round number 6 of the Classic IndyCar Series. That guy, Jack Stiles. I'm Will Vincent. Good night from Detroit.